Street protests have the power to dislodge despots, but they don't always result in a peaceful transition to a rule under stable democratic institutions. In Sudan, after Omar al-Bashir was deposed in 2019, the leaders who've now assumed power have resorted to a cynical game of exploiting the ethnic and tribal fault lines between communities. And they're doing this to cement their position in power. So it is hardly a surprise that the Blue Nile state has erupted with some of the worst tribal clashes that have been witnessed in Sudan in recent years. Take a look.
The Blue Nile state in the southern part of Sudan is named after the Blue Nile River. It is home to over 40 different ethnic communities. But at this moment, it has become a battleground for who owns land and who has the right to graze their cattle there. At least 65 people have been killed and over 150 others have been wounded in clashes between two tribes. Most of those who have been killed are said to be young men who were shot or stabbed. The Hausa and Birta tribes of the Blue Nile don't see eye to eye with each other. The trouble started on the 10th of July, when Hausa farmers clashed with Birta shepherds near the city of Kaisan. Soon, the violence spread to the heart of the city of Kaisan, and hundreds of people were forced to flee from their homes.
The death toll in Blue Nile region rose to 65 and the injured people are 150 due to recent reports by the government. There is at least 14,000 people were displaced and deployed by the military to nearest location to Blue Nile region, to Damazin, Gunes East and to Aruseris. They are located in some locations belong to military like schools and hospitals, but the situation is bad and there is no humanitarian aid.
Prohibitory orders have been imposed for a month. Hausa farmers claim land rights in the Blue Nile state for having brought land under cultivation. But the Birta tribesmen reject this claim. They contend that the Hausa farmers are only guests on lands that belong to the Birta tribes. The Blue Nile state, which borders Ethiopia, has always been a restive region. And if the violence is not contained, it threatens to cross national borders into Ethiopia as well, where the Hausa and Birta tribesmen live. So what is the Sudanese government doing to stem this violence? According to observers, the government and the politicians are a part of the problem. Ever since the former president Omar al-Bashir was ousted after street protests in 2019, Sudan has plunged into political uncertainty. The transitional government, which replaced Bashir, was plagued with internal contradictions. But this too was dissolved by a coup in 2021. When the military general Abdul Fattah al-Burhan seized power, sparking off widespread protests. The military has resorted to oppression to crush the protests, but this had little impact in quelling the anger of the people, who want General Burhan to go back to the barracks.
I urge anyone in power to reconsider their position because power will not remain with one person forever. These people in power will eventually die and they will stand before God on their own. No one will stand in front of God and say, I was implementing orders to kill, because orders never worked in favor of those in power.
To deal with the widespread political turmoil, the Sudanese leadership has been accused of reopening the old wounds of tribal warfare. The police and security forces are caught up guarding the rulers in the capital city of Khartoum. Lawlessness has increased in the hinterland, and it is not just in the Blue Nile state. Even the troubled Darfur region has witnessed fresh violence this year. According to the United Nations, an estimated 84,000 people have been driven out of their homes after attacks by tribal militia. Unless there is some hard political intent to rein in the violence, the ethnic and tribal fault lines of Sudan will rupture further.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.